Over the past few days, I did quick reviews of the 3 small Hammond collection figures that just released. The Utahraptor, Stygimoloch, and what they call a Troodon. I wouldn't call the Stygimoloch review negative. I've got mixed feelings about that Troodon, but the Utahraptor was a disappointment for sure. You'd think after 6 Hammond collection Velociraptors they would have accidentally gotten it right by now. But don't let my criticisms fool you. Generally speaking, I like what Mattel has been doing with the Jurassic license, but I'm not going to pretend they're all gems. But here is something that I do like. The Jurassic World freaking Utahraptor. Okay, the paint is not great, but this is a toy made for kids, not a collector figure. And since I'm gonna repaint it anyways, who cares? Like all of the Mattel Jurassic World figures, it comes in a box. But I'm not really a box guy, and there's nothing super remarkable about this box, except that the Utahraptor's tail is still trapped inside of it. Hold on one moment while I get that out. There we go. The tail snaps easily in place, like so. And now we have a Utahraptor. It has an unobtrusive action feature, which makes an annoying sound. And the forelimbs are made out of a soft rubbery material, so the claws are very sharp, but not even remotely dangerous. There aren't a lot of great articulated Utahraptors out there. As far as I know, it's just this and the Beast of the Mesozoic. Usually, I'm comparing the Beast of the Mesozoic to the Mattel, and not the other way around. These guys are roughly the same size, although the Beast of the Mesozoic has a significantly longer tail, and a veritable crap ton of articulation. The Mattel one, as mentioned, has a bit of a shorter tail, and it's got a slightly chunkier build. Also, to Mattel's credit, this Utahraptor looks like a Utahraptor, which is more than I can say for some species recently released. Troodon. The size of the figure is good, the sculpt is good, it features lots of fine details. The teeth and claws are sharp but rubbery. If it was a collector figure, I would nitpick the paint and the tail length, and probably also the lack of feathers on the hand, although I guess that can be chalked up to a stylistic choice. Can we just get the sculptor that worked on this Utahraptor for the main line to work on some of the small dinosaurs for the Hammond collection? Here is Mr. Spielberg for scale. And I think that just about wraps up the preliminaries. Let's walk with this dinosaur. And by walk, I mean cover him in a base coat of warm buff. You know, I really do love Halloween, but I don't like for my raptors to run around looking like big feathery candy corn. Now that we have a blank slate to work with, we can fix that. If you haven't guessed, or seen the thumbnail for this video, we are giving this Utahraptor a Walkin' with Dinosaurs color. So the first color we're going to apply is yeller. This step marks the return of Golden Sunset. I've been using a lot of yellow ochre lately, but this Utahraptor just felt sunsetty to me, so Golden Sunset it is. In my last real repaint video, I mentioned the Creative Beast Studios' predilection towards the color blue. I might have a similar fixation with yellow. Once this Utahraptor is yellow, with the exception of the counter shading, which we will leave that warm buff color, we can move on to the next step, patterns. As you may recall, the Walking with Dinosaurs Utahraptor is not particularly floofy. Fortunately, in my travels, I happened upon this depiction by Monster Paints, which features a Utahraptor with the Walking with Dinosaurs colors that's both floofy and chunky, perfect for this Mattel Utahraptor. Thus armed with our handy-dandy reference materials from Paleo Publications and Monster Paints, we'll attack the tail with some jet black. This is just the first layer for the patterns. I'll go over them with burnt umber later. Now that that tail is more or less patterned up, we'll work on the face. First things first, eyeliner. On both sides, because we don't want a lopsided dinosaur. While I continue to add some patterns, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret, which will become a lot more apparent later on in this repaint. I screwed up. You see, this Utahraptor has an awful lot of sculpted detail on it. The kind of detail that you want to bring out with a wash, which really should be the first step after base coating it. Well, guess what I didn't do? So because of that, I apologize for the redundant steps in patterning later. Well, now that we've done patterning on the tail and the head, it's time to hit everything in between. For the pattern on the wing, I'm going to more or less follow that drawing from Monster Paints. For the patterns on the body, it's a series of spots or speckles that form horizontal lines that run down the length of the animal's body. Very similar to the female raptor from Jurassic Park 3. Or an adorable baby quail. But fortunately, this Utahraptor is not going to look nearly as gross as the last dinosaur I painted to look like a baby bird. Not that I'm specifically painting it like a baby bird, there's just similarities. Well, that just about wraps up the patterns, but this is the beginning of my troubles. See, I thought painting the feet black, and then doing a dry brush over them would help to show off all of that beautiful sculpted detail. And I wasn't wrong. It just reminded me that all of that beautifully sculpted detail isn't limited to the feet. I was going to have to cover this whole thing in a wash and dry brush over it. For some reason or no reason, I'm not sure, I decided that a wash in classic caramel would work best. I guess I thought it wouldn't obscure the patterns as much. Anyways, on with that dry brushing. Obviously, for the face and the ventral areas, we're going to use that same warm beige that we base coated it with. And when we get to the bulk of the body, we're going to use that same golden sunset that we used earlier. The trouble with all of this is that between the wash and the dry brushing, we're hiding all those patterns that I went and did earlier. But you know, I do love making more work for myself. So we'll just grab our trusty toothpick and go over all of those patterns again. Oh hey, I'm using an actual paintbrush. That's freaking weird. Oh well. Back to the patterning, because I didn't do the wash right after the base coat like I should have. Just like last time, we're going to paint both sides, so we don't have a lopsided dinosaur. Once all that repeat patterning is done, we're going to go in with the dry brushing on the feet that started this whole mess. I hope that detail is worth it. While we're at it, we're going to go ahead and dry brush those hands as well. After all, they were an accessory to the feet in this whole debacle. Alright, we finally gotten to the good part. Time to spray over all of those black patterns with burnt umber, which will give them a much more natural and faded appearance and help them to blend into the surrounding colors. Take a good look at this Utahraptor and tell me that doesn't look like a baby quail. He's awfully cute for a ferocious killing machine. You know, believe it or not, this is not how I was initially going to paint this Utahraptor. I had something else entirely in mind. Maybe I'll pick up another Utahraptor and do that later. But for the first Utahraptor repaint on my channel, I think that the Walking with Dinosaurs pattern is probably the way to go. Now that this raptor's patterns are done, we're going to go ahead and hit all of the dorsal areas with an overspray of chestnut. While it may not be 100% accurate to Walking with Dinosaurs, I think a light coat of chestnut is going to really take this Utahraptor up to the next level. Ferocious. We are at the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. Time to do the eyeball. We are going to paint the entire eye with gloss black, using that trusty toothpick, which I sadly neglected to use earlier. While I'm messing around with gloss black, we're also going to hit all of the claws, including that dew claw. A painted dew claw is a happy dew claw. There we go, all done. Come on, you didn't think I was actually going to forget it after making a big deal out of painting it, did you? Okay, now let's finish off those eyeballs. Using our trusty toothpick, we're going to give him a nice round iris with Inca Gold. More and more, I'm finding that I love using Inca Gold for raptor eyes. It's going to really drive home that this Utahraptor is basically a ground eagle the size of a polar bear. And for the pupil, we'll use that same gloss black that we did for the claws. And that pupil is, of course, going to be round. We're not heathens. Now for glamorous glamour shots. Well, that's it for this video. Maybe next week I'll finally get around to that Allosaurus I've been saying I'd paint. See you then.